YouTube's always been a mysterious place. It's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. No one truly knows what's going on at the YouTube HQ. It's like Area 51, but for video sharing platforms. And the only thing you can ever be certain of with YouTube is that if a YouTuber makes a video talking about them, it's typically negative. However, today, that's not the case. I'm happy to report with a smile on my face and a wet spot in my trousers that I have nothing but good things to say about YouTube today. And I swear on a stack of Pokemon cards, I am not being forced to say this. There isn't like a YouTube assassin with a gun to my head threatening me. As God and anime as my witness, this is just truthfully how I feel today. I'm going to go ahead and catch you up on the lore here and bring you all up to speed. A few days ago on Twitter, I made this post complaining about how one of my videos from 3 years ago was taken down and I got another strike on my channel. The video is, of course, the timeless classic Viking Daughter Girtholomew. Now, I'm sure Viking Daughter is a game that needs no introduction. It's one of the world's most popular games, up there with the Super Mario Brothers, but for porn. It's a game where you get to have sex with the Viking chief's daughter, and it's where I created my alternate character, my persona, Girtholomew. Now, when I created Girtholomew, I really found myself. I wouldn't be the Charles White sitting before you today without Girtholomew. Girtholomew crawled so that Charles White could run. God rest his soul. Some say they don't even know where Girtholomew ends and Charles begins anymore. The point is, though, the game was a porn game where you have sex with this girl. It was all censored, and I censored it further, but it was still in violation of YouTube's policies, so they gave me a strike. Understandably, I was very upset about this, so I did what every creator does. I went to Twitter because it seems like that is currently the only way that you can actually get answers from YouTube. And answers I did receive, we came to a compromise where the video will stay removed, but the strike will be overturned. So the strike is gone, but the video is too. Girtholomew took one for the team, made the ultimate sacrifice, getting rid of the strike. Of course, I'm still upset about it because I hate to see my baby boy slaughtered like that. I would like if the Viking Daughter could continue to exist on YouTube, because I still don't think it really violates the policy since everything is censored, but that's just my opinion. I was happy the strike was gone. And to my surprise, Santa Claus came a little early. Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, replied to my tweet saying that she'd like to set up time to talk about what happened and receive feedback on everything that went on. Of course, I expected nothing out of tagging Susan in my initial tweet. It's like when somebody's having a problem with their Amazon order of a box of condoms and they tag Jeff Bezos asking him to hand deliver the condoms to them. Obviously, you're not expecting anything, but Susan actually responded, and to my even greater surprise, followed through. It wasn't just a public response without any follow-through. We had a real phone call today to go over everything, and it was no holds barred. She welcomed any and all hard questions that I could come up with. I even brought Matt in as like some backup muscle to come up with even harder questions for her to answer. Matt, if you don't remember, is the man who's immune to hot sauces and hot peppers. Man could literally Kegel 5 Carolina Reapers in his asshole and feel nothing. The man's a fucking monster with spice. I'm sure you know Matt by now. And he came along with me so we could both ask her some questions that every creator's had for years now and get some insight on. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to record our conversation because it was more than just Susan and I on the line. There were a few other department heads that wanted to hop in the video call as well to talk about things and get feedback on things, including a man that many people believe to be a myth these days, like Merlin the Wizard. I'm talking about the head of the YouTube policy team. I have never had a conversation with anyone on the policy team. Everyone I've ever talked to on the YouTube platform has never had contact with the policy team. And today I was lucky enough to actually talk to the head of the entire department. And I am happy to say he's a human being. At least as far as I could tell. He didn't have any like Android malfunctions or glitches going on where he just starts spewing out like binary code or anything. Like, he seemed like a normal, nice guy, actually. And I just wanted to talk about the conversation we had today because I feel like a lot of creators would want to get some insight as to what's going on and how they plan on tackling a lot of the problems we've been having recently. So naturally, the first thing I wanted to talk about is why the strikes are used so frequently. It's strike first, ask questions later. They come out gung-ho, guns blaring, riding horseback, just tossing out strikes on the platform, it feels like, even for minor offenses. And the policy head assured me that it really is an overcorrection of the rules, a mistake where they come in very heavy-handed and strike channels that aren't blatantly abusing the rules. He explained to me that the strikes are really meant there for the bad actors that constantly show a blatant disregard of the rules, where they'll have multiple infractions before giving a strike, but sometimes it falls through the cracks just given the size of the team and the volume they deal with, where they'll just give a strike out of nowhere to a channel that just didn't deserve it based on the minor offense. So, yeah, okay, understandable, mistakes happen, but what are they going to do going forward to prevent this mistake from happening so frequently? And he went into detail about some of the things that they're going to be looking to do in 2021, and I wanted to give a suggestion of my own to toss into the ring there that actually came from Markiplier. A month ago, Markiplier and I both received strikes on our channels for the same video we were making jokes about. It was a video where SpongeBob and a few other mascots get together and the bad boys staged a road rage where they pretend to beat up a man on the streets while wearing their mascot costumes. It's a goofy video. We were making jokes about it, and we both received strikes on our channel for it. And Markiplier, in his video talking about it, brings up an extremely great suggestion going forward that I think YouTube really needed to hear, and I was glad to bring it to them. The suggestion is, let creators use YouTube's own editing tools to blur or take out infringing content. So that way, instead of having the whole video removed and a strike on the channel, let the creator know, hey, look, this right here violates a policy, you might want to do something about it, and let the creator use the tools that YouTube currently has to remove it, because we have the technology. The technology is there. We're in the fucking future. We can do that. And I'm sure most creators are willing to take out 10 seconds of a video if it means they don't get a strike and the video stays up. This also comes into play with Mama Max's video, if you remember that controversy that happened where Mama Max had this huge video that got taken down, and it was taken down, if I remember correctly, because he showed a phone number for like 3 seconds on screen. Well, instead of taking that whole video down, why not just let Mama Max know, take this out and the video stays up? I'm sure he would have obliged using YouTube's editing tools. So I wanted to make sure that they heard that suggestion, and Susan in particular really liked the idea and really wanted to press that on the policy team, and the policy head also liked the idea and wanted to explore ways of slowly implementing this policy over time too. So it just really felt like everyone there was actually receptive to feedback. Susan was pressing questions to the policy team guy about, well, why aren't we doing this? Can we do this? Using our feedback on the call, and that really meant a lot because it showed me that at least it feels like they care and do want to make the platform better. Now, whether or not a system like this will ever be in place, who knows? That remains to be seen. But at least seeing that their excitement and willingness to accept feedback and even start talking about ways that they could implement it over the call was nice to hear. Now, I also wanted to pose a couple more questions to the policy head because it's not every day you get to talk to a unicorn, right? I mean, like, no one's ever talked to the policy head team, and the guy was super nice and super open with just about everything going on there. So, of course, I wanted to know, why doesn't the policy team talk to anyone on the platform? They are easily the most powerful department in the company, but also the one shrouded in the most mystery, where people have to wonder if they even exist in the first place. And he explains that it's because of the size of the team and the fact that there just isn't a way for him to talk to everyone on the platform. So Susan, in response to that, suggested why not have dedicated policy members whose job it is to relay policy information between creators and the policy team to be that bridge. And I love that. I didn't even suggest that. Susan, upon hearing that he can't do it himself, suggested a solution, which would be have members of the policy team whose position it is to be the bridge between the creator and the policy team. So there is a back and forth dialogue. And I love that. That's exactly what we've been asking for. For the entire history of this platform, you'd have better luck writing your problem on a soccer ball and kicking it towards their office and hoping the policy team looks at the ball than actually being able to talk to them. Partner managers don't have access to the policy team. Almost nobody does. It's like trying to get nuclear launch codes trying to get answers from the policy team, and Susan said that needs to change. The head of the department says he can't really do that himself because the team is pretty small and they have so much going through, so Susan suggested having members of the policy team whose position it is to relay information and have a dialogue between creators, the community, and the policy team. That is exactly what I was hoping to hear, and I'm extremely excited to see if they actually do follow through on that and implement a system like that. Being able to talk to the policy team is one of the biggest hurdles creators have had for a long time, because you have context for your videos. The policy team might not. And like he admitted on the phone, they make mistakes. And not having access to them means they don't get to correct those mistakes. And that brings me to the next thing I talked about, which is, why is the only way to get answers from the policy team or anyone at YouTube to make a big hoopla on Twitter? Why is that the only avenue creators can take to get answers from the platform? And they all unanimously agreed that that's the most inefficient means. They don't like that, but that's what it's become over the years. That's how it's evolved, and they're not happy with it. No one's happy with it, but that's what it is right now, and they're looking at ways of changing it in 2021. I don't know exactly what those are. They don't exactly know what that looks like either, but they are trying to improve the services they already offer, which is like the help section, giving partner managers more access, as Susan mentioned on the phone. and other means as well, letting Team YouTube illustrate more about what's going on and what's changing and helping more on that end to relay information from the company to the community. But they all agreed that it is a problem, that Twitter seems to be the only way to get answers from YouTube right now. But again, don't know how that's going to change, when, or what that's going to look like, but it was nice to at least hear they recognize it as a problem too. Which brought me to the next point I wanted to talk about. Why doesn't the policy team explain themselves? Why don't they go through exactly why they're maintaining a decision, why they made the decision in the first place, things like that. For example, Belle Delphine, when she had her channel banned, submitted an appeal, and the appeal was rejected. And what's supposed to happen is you get an explanation as for why it's rejected and why it still breaks the rules, but what happened is they just sent her a 2-sentence email saying, we're maintaining our decision, your appeal is rejected, and here's our FAQs. And I thought that was a massive problem because that same thing happens to me. Last time I appealed on the video with Viking Daughter, I made an appeal, it was rejected in a day, and I never even got an email. I never even got an explanation as to why. Obviously, that's not good. An entire channel being banned without explanation and without way of contacting, that's a recipe for disaster. And the policy head also recognized that as a fucking disaster too. He wasn't sugarcoating anything. He was able to recognize shortcomings, admit to mistakes, and offer solutions and ask for, feedback, what we thought on some of the things that they need to work on and how they should work on those things. He talked about some plans going forward into 2021 that I don't know if I'm allowed to relay. I don't want to take the chance and scare him away and have him go lock himself in the policy department again, because I think this is a huge step in the right direction, having him come on this call and talk to us. And he said he was willing to do more like it in the future, so I look forward to being able to maybe talk to this department a bit more and have them talk to other creators on the platform a bit more. So I don't want to take any chances in revealing sensitive information, but they recognize the problems. They're not oblivious to them. They're just working on the best ways of combating it, given the situation and everything going on. And I can respect that. I just wish they were more transparent with it, which is what brought me to another point I wanted to talk about. This one was geared towards everyone in the room, Susan, the policy team, everyone on the call. Why is YouTube so bad at communicating? They are not transparent at all, and when they try to be, it comes out really callous and soulless. And they understood that, and they agreed that they haven't hit the mark. The only person at YouTube that's really nailing the humanizing of the company is Ryan. Ryan Wyatt, the head of the YouTube gaming side of things. Ryan is excited about everything on the platform. He makes people excited. He engages with the community. He's got it figured out. And I pointed that out. I used Ryan as an example. Ryan is doing exactly what somebody at YouTube in that position should be doing. He's getting the community excited. He's relaying information effectively. He's engaging with people on the platform, and that's how it should be done. So when new policies are being implemented, instead of just making a 3-part tweet explaining them, leaving so much vague wording and gray area that scares people and makes them think that YouTube's new policy is going to make their fucking parents get divorced, maybe Susan or someone else at the higher up level at YouTube sits down with a creator or just makes a video going over all of the common questions or just explaining things a bit deeper. Susan has sat down with creators before, like MatPat last year, and taken hard questions and done her best to answer them, so that way people aren't afraid of the policies and explain what's going on and why. And I think things like that are good, and she should continue doing them. And she agreed and said she enjoyed doing it with MatPat last year. So I would look forward to that going forward, hopefully. And I think that's definitely a step in the right direction in relaying information using the platform. Talking with the people on the platform that make YouTube YouTube, so you can answer their questions and make sure that they're not worried and their audience isn't worried about things that might change on the platform. And speaking of creators, that brought me to the last question that I'm going to cover in this video today. There was more we talked about, but I think these are the main points, and I would hope that Susan and everyone on the team is open for more conversations with the community down the line so more questions can be answered. But the next one, and the last one I want to talk about today, is one that Nerd City brought up to me as well, and it's that creators like me just sitting in their room jerking off in their chair and making videos staring into a webcam aren't really on the same level as traditional media to the platform. It feels like YouTube doesn't care about creators so much as they do traditional mainstream media that's been integrating into the platform. For example, it felt like the Tonight Show hosts weren't held to the same bullying and harassment standards that creators were, because you'd have creators getting videos taken down and strikes because of harassment and bullying policies, whereas it felt like late night hosts and other mainstream outlets had free reign to shit on anyone they wanted without consequence. And that's all well and good, but that should be uniform across a platform. Everyone should have that same level of treatment. And it hasn't felt that way for a lot of creators. And I brought that up to Susan because I wanted to get her thoughts on it. And she really assured me that that's not the case. It may have been early on, unintentionally, but they have been working extremely hard over the last year or so to make sure trending isn't dominated by mainstream outlets. They want to make sure that the creators are showcased on trending. They want to make sure that policies are uniformly enforced across traditional and creator-generated content. That level of trust where they have the level of trust they have with mainstream outlets, they want to have with creators, and they've been working hard on making sure that that's there. And it's just a matter of making sure it comes across that way. And to be fair, trending is no longer completely dominated by mainstream outlets. I don't check it that often, but when I do, I'm seeing a lot of like YouTuber shit in there. And in search and discovery, I'm not just seeing mainstream outlets. When I look for news, it's not only mainstream. I'm seeing Philip DeFranco and some other creators come up before them. So I do believe her when she says she cares about creators. She fucking sat down to talk to me. I'm not exactly what you'd consider the most family-friendly YouTuber. The last like 10 videos, 8 of them had me using a 3-foot, 80-pound dildo as like a punching bag and weights for weight training. And she was willing to sit down and take my feedback. And it's something you just don't really see from someone in her position of power. Talking to someone like MatPat on stage in person, even just taking this random video call with me just to get feedback and go over things like that is something that is really rare. I can't think of any other CEO of any big company that has ever done anything remotely like that. Take, for example, Twitch. What the fuck has the CEO of Twitch ever done with the community? He's never talked to a streamer, gotten feedback from streamers, taken questions from them. The only thing I've seen him do is wear a bow tie on a stream and talk out of his asshole about things Twitch isn't doing, but pretending that they are, like using context in their bans. Susan went out of her way to get feedback from the community. She did it when she talked with MatPat, and she did it today when she had a video call with me. I'm surprised she even saw my tweet. I'm more surprised she even runs her own Twitter. And then even doubly shocked that she saw the tweet and felt so strongly that she wanted to schedule time to talk. Like, that is not the actions of somebody that doesn't care. And I really commend her for that. So yeah, here's hoping in 2021 YouTube does make changes and does improve the platform. It's no secret that its reputation right now is a little dog shit. It's not great. But hopefully in 2021 they can turn that around, because after this video call today, I get the impression that they really do want to. So I'm excited and cautiously optimistic that they will improve and change things and listen more and be more transparent. Now, a year ago I would have said it's really fucking naive of me to say that, but after today I feel more confident saying that. So here's hoping I don't look like an idiot 6 months from now if YouTube doesn't change at all, but I'm hopeful that they will. That's about it. See ya.